Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Now you can catch the entire video game industry all over the world, all systems, all in one place. Let's go to the middle of November 1982. We were last reading Computer Gaming World, the November-December issue, and this issue means we're getting closer to the holidays of 1982. So much more fun to be had. Here's our next release. We're going to the United Kingdom to play on the Sinclair ZX81, and this is Ghost Hunt. Wow, the front of this box looks creepy. This is Ghost Hunt, the ghost hide in the maze. Can you stay alive? Very, very scary-ish, but hey, they're kind of telling us what it is because there's a maze down in the bottom. So if you've seen the show, you should already guess what Ghost Hunt is. Let's flip it over the back, and shocker, it was a cassette tape all along because we played video games on cassette tapes right here in November 1982. What other artwork do we have for Ghost Hunt? Besides the cassette tape, we have an example of the screenshot, and that is it. Let's pop it and play some Ghost Hunt. This is by Chris P. Cullen, published by PSS, Personal Software Services. It is November 15th, 1982. Well, that's the game, right? Just a couple zeros? No. On the Sinclair ZX81, first you hit R to run, and then you hit Enter. And then you're in the game, assuming you loaded the cassette tape, which, of course, we did. We just didn't want to wait that long. So this is our 85th game that we played on the Sinclair ZX81. That's including the North American release of this computer, the Timex Sinclair 1000. We're lumping everything together. There's a few systems that we are separating based on region, like we did with the Philips Video Pack in Europe and the Magnavox Odyssey 2 in North America. We made two totally different systems. For computers, though, I got to put them all together. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of games because they were mostly on both systems. Same looking at you, ZX Spectrum. All right, so this is by Chris P. Cullen. Way to go, Chris. This is the third game that we've seen Chris P. Cullen do. He did Hopper, which is kind of like Frogger, and he did Crazy Kong, the Crazy Kong on the ZX81. And the company that published this, PSS, or Personal Software Services, this is the fifth game that we've seen by them. Opening is just a bunch of text. It makes us feel like we're in the arcades. We got a point value system, and look what we're represented as. Does it even tell us what we are? It does not. But it says we got to pick up dollar signs for points, asterisks, but watch out for the quotes, those deadly quotes. Watch out for them. I know, yeah, it's another video game like those. All right, so press any key to go. We get a bonus at 10,000. We're ready. And there we go. We're in. Oh, we're represented by the zero. So we're playing as the zero, and it is, once again, another Pac-Man clone. Oh, no, I get it. The quotes kind of look like eyes. That's a clever way to do that. And it's not the first time we've seen it with video games using ASCII characters, especially here on this little micro. All right, so I am playing Pac-Man, and they go from plus as like the temporary transition, but whenever you can take them out, it's when they're minuses. That is quaint. And don't adjust your audio. There is no sound on the Sinclair ZX81. No one can hear you scream. Oh man, can they warp on the other sides too? So we have a warp on either end too. That's nice. But I'm controlling this all with the cursor keys. And for a refresher, this is, it can pass through, darn. This is the keyboard, and the cursor keys are 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you are just using the membrane keyboard, barely even considered a membrane keyboard. Think of it more like a calculator, and you're pushing down the keys to move your zero around to hopefully get, yes, all the dots. It does respond very, very well. If you want to consider pushing down on that keyboard responding, yeah. I know, that's a clever idea with the quotes. I like the idea. And the game is running fast and smooth. There is obviously no sound, and we played other games that have more than that. And is that all our men? No, we still got more lives. Yes, go, go, go. The maze didn't change unless there was something so subtle I missed it. Did anyone see if the maze changed at all? Because I think we're playing the exact same one we did before. Getting lots of points there for that. Love it. So this is what we call on the show an arcade maze game. Top-down maze game made popular by games like Head-On by Sega and Pac-Man. Pick up some dots. And this is the 301st arcade maze game we've played on the show. And that's all systems all over the world. The 301st arcade maze game. This one is taking the trope that we have seen before. I'm going to go in again and play it one more time, which is it's Pac-Man, and they had ghosts, and they were originally comical in the arcade, but now they're going to say, no, the ghosts are scary. You can see the front from the front of the box. So this is taking that trope. Let's make it all about the ghosts and make it scary. ASCII graphics is what we've seen as well before. This is the 134th Pac-Man variant that we played up to this point, and that's all systems, even the arcade. Everyone that's made a copy, not an official way to play Pac-Man. 134 games so far. This micro alone, the Sinclair ZX81, this is the 6th Pac-Man variant we've seen so far. So it already has competition right here, at least if you were collecting and seeing and playing everything that would be available right now on this system. All right, I want to pick up more. Let's see if we can finish this off without a power-up. This is our last guy, I believe. Oh, wait. I think we're okay to get that one. And then, quick, before we did it. Oh, I don't know how we did it. That was crazy. So, of all the games we've seen up to this point, I would say this is not as good as Gulp Man that's on the Sinclair ZX81 or the game of Puckman. I'd say this is about the same level as Gobble Man or Zuck Man that's on this micro. But this has a lot to live up to though. There's so many other games that are well done Pac-Man games for other home computers because that's where the competition is going to come from. All right, so there's a quick taste of Ghost Hunt. Now, what would you say? Of all the games you could play across all home computers right now in November 1982, how good is Ghost Hunt? It wouldn't blow you away. I'd still say it's around average for everything. Now, since we rate this against every single computer that's available all over the world that you could play in all video gamedom, sometimes we get games that break the curve, you know, like games like that are lowering the standard of what we would consider average. But then we got games that push it way over the top. So it's all over the place. Looking in the chat, I see 2.5 stars for the quote ghosts, giving them some bonus points. Yeah, 2 stars or 3 stars. Yeah, and this one is going to be available on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum in 1983. So we will see this again, Ghost Hunt, with maybe some color, maybe some sound, as we saw before. But yeah, I'm actually, I'm with you, Manly. I'll say 2.5 stars of all the games you could play across all home computers. Still around the average range, but I will not call Ghost Hunt bad of all the games. This is not a bad game. That's where we're living right now. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Coming up next, we got a big one. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator on MS-DOS. Or technically, it was available for PC Booter, but at this time, it's IBM PCs. Let's take a look at the box for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, in the history of all video games, everyone should be familiar with this because it's happening right now. They've been making this game or updating the game, making new engines for the game, and they might continue forever making it for this. This was only known as Microsoft Flight Simulator when it first came out. This is our 124th game that we played for MS-DOS, or games for IBM computers. The front of this box, I actually got to give a nod to IBM and Microsoft for putting this out because it does not look like you're playing software or an application. Usually that's what they do. But we got some nice artwork, very well done. This is by Microsoft. A very humble beginning to the Microsoft name. All we've seen right now by Microsoft has been Olympic Decathlon or Microsoft Decathlon, and then the game that was bundled in with MS-DOS, Donkey. So there's really not that many games by Microsoft. They won't amount to anything. If we flip it over the back, you can see this is a flight simulator, highly accurate simulation of flight in a single-engine aircraft, working instruments, panoramic out-of-the-window graphic views, real-time flight conditions give you the excitement of flying in a real plane. If that doesn't excite you, you probably just don't like simulations. Yeah, if you're not into Microsoft flights or flight simulators in general, then you're not going to get it. But over here on the side, look at it says you can choose between the British Ace game mode and transform your flight world into World War I Europe. You'll fly across enemy lines, shoot down enemy fighters, hit bombing targets, and try to keep yourself from being shot down. That's right, it has both a flight simulator and a flight combat simulation. Well done. This is the reference card, and what a reference card it is. Inside the box, this is one of the most complicated games that we've seen on the show. Now, we've already seen something similar to this. A2FS1 Flight Simulator was available by the same creator of this, and it inspired Microsoft to basically take that game, give it a few tweaks and updates, and here we are with Microsoft Flight Simulator. And it's extremely complicated. So get ready to watch me crash. Is that why we got so many people here for the live show? Everyone just wants to see the plane crash because you know it's going to happen. And there's a 5 1/4 floppy disk example of what you would have for Microsoft Flight Simulator. PC and PC Junior, we don't even know what that is right now. We just know what the IBM PC is. And an example of the screenshot. Everyone mostly sees that one. Yeah, there's the reference card that I said before. But the manual, oh man, the manual... We're not going to be able to get through all of this. There's a lot. This is brought to us by Sublogic. It's the 8th game we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming, and it is done by Bruce A. Artwick. He did the A2FS1 Flight Simulator, and he also did Night Mission Pinball. And this is the 8th game we've seen by Sublogic, so there's other things they've done besides just simulation-style games. But the manual, we're not going to read this. This is basically application software. It's so long and lengthy. I do want to point out a few things as we go through the manual because this is pretty impressive. As far as if you wanted a flight simulation game, this is the best. This is top tier simulation across everything that's possible right now, even in the arcade. Because arcade's going to give you more action-based games. You are not going to be able to do this even in the arcade right now. That's right, and the screenshot is doing CGA. We're going to see both modes here on the show. I'm just scrolling through the table of contents. This is so long. It is a 93-page manual. Most likely the longest manual we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. And for all the fans that want lore, I'm sorry, you really don't get lore. It just tells you what you get to do in this game or what the game's like to play. So this one takes place in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, Seattle. You have 20 different locations you can fly to all over the United States. The starting airport is going to be the Meigs Field in Chicago. Meigs Field, maybe someone can tell me how to pronounce it correctly, with a view of a city skyline to the left and Lake Michigan to the right. So this has an improved graphics engine over the other flight simulator game, variable weather, time of day, new coordinate system, used with all subsequent versions up to version 5 of Microsoft's Flight Simulator. It's later updated and ported to other computers as Flight Simulator 2 that Sublogic also did. And the early version of Flight Simulator was used to test PC capability. So I didn't show the minimum requirements. It wasn't blasted on the back of the box. You need 64K of RAM to run this. And this was a benchmark for IBM PCs. If your PC could run this simulator and Lotus 123, it was deemed a really like an official IBM computer. This was the benchmark video game. That's how big this is. Oh, here we go. Yeah, system requirements. Here's where we see it. 64K of memory, a monitor. You can play this in RGB, but I believe it's only monochrome. Yeah, black and white shades, so you're not even going to get color from it. Yeah, Hunter, no, it does not. This was the crisis of November 1982. Yeah, right? Yeah, combat simulation is a really cool idea that they put that in as well. So this manual has so many things that are going to go on. We're not going to be able to touch on everything that it has, but you just got to admit how amazing this is. So I'm going to just stop the manual here. We are not going to go into loading and playing the 3D display, the instrument cluster. There is a lot. So peruse the manual on your own time. All right, let's pop in and play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Look at that boot screen. That is awesome. All right, so kind of like I hit on before, this one is using different display modes. Color is supported only with color composite monitors. The game runs in black and white only if you use an RGB monitor. I'm going to show you in color. So we're going to actually play this on a color TV or composite monitor. There we go. And you can select 2 different modes, demo mode or regular flight mode. I am not going to do demo mode. I want to fly the plane. When we saw this originally as A2FS1 Flight Simulator, I just looked at the city skyline and just sat there and talked about the game and then just quit it. We are going to fly. I'm going to fly this plane. Ready? Regular mode. All right, so the first thing that you have to realize is this is the 17th flight simulator that we've played on Chronologically Gaming across all systems. And this would be the 20th if you want to consider space shuttle simulations, which most of them have flight simulator elements. This also is a video game that's using 3D wireframe graphics. There's only one other game, which was 3D golf simulation on the Fujitsu FM7, that's attempting to do what this game does. That's how cutting edge this video game is. I'm telling you all that now because once I start to fly and play in the air, there might be some booze or vegetables being thrown at me because it doesn't seem as impressive by modern standards. But I have to tell you though, of all the games right now, this is already amazing with everything that's giving us. The other thing to note too is I have to do everything with keyboard controlled only. I'm putting my joystick away. There is no joystick control for the first Microsoft Flight Simulator, believe that or not. So I'm going to be doing all this. You saw the reference card. It is only keyboard control. If someone knows if there's a way later on, you know, they made the ability to use a keyboard on this Flight Simulator, let me know because I'm not sure. I'm glad it does have a demo mode courtesy, all right? So if you end up crashing a lot, like we might do, you can play that one instead. All right. Oh, now they're so primitive compared to all the ones that we've seen up to this point. Okay, so like I said before, the graphics for this one actually take a lot of tweaking. If you try playing this yourself within DOSBox, you're actually not even going to get to the screen. It will crash before that. There is still going to be artifacting and graphical glitches while I play this. And if you try to see people playing it right now on other emulators, they're going to get the same graphical glitches. There's only 1 or 2 people I've seen that's played this on original hardware that have gotten the game to run perfectly as if it was in November 1982. So we're starting in Meigs Airfield in Chicago. We should have the city skyline over on the far side, and then we should have Lake Michigan on the right. But you notice we don't really see Lake Michigan yet. It's going to glitch into existence. We're also flying on a Cessna 182, which I believe when you do the World War I simulation, a combat simulation, you can get a different plane, but you're pretty much just one plane, 20 different locations, but the ability to fly all over the world. All right, now let's do this. Crank the throttle up. First thing I need to do is just angle my plane in the right spot because we're not able to actually see the runway. And then I need to get my flaps up. Nope, not that much. Oh, hope it didn't mess me up doing that. I want to do light ones. Okay, and then watch the altimeter, come on, or altitude, I mean, come on, get the altitude up. Throttle's at max. Oh, I think we got it. No way, I think we got it. Yes, first try. And there you go, you can see Lake Michigan flying right below us. Oh yeah, that's what the tower is in the background. Got it, we're in the air. You can see the altitude going up higher. Let's raise the landing gear. And I'm just barely lifting off, but we've only experienced this with a couple other flight simulation games with this real-time experience, but this one's trying to push and do something we've never seen before on any video game anywhere. Yeah, I can't believe we actually lifted off first try. In my play tests, you have to use the number keypad to move the plane and essentially use it as a joystick. And so it's very cumbersome and really, really touchy. And so even in my play tests, I crashed over and over again, or you fell into the water. All right, altitude's still going up, looking good. All right, now I want to attempt, let's do a turn. Here's where you can see the... It's oh no, wait, don't turn too much. Wait, don't turn yet. Never mind. Hold on. I turned too early. Go back. Go back. There we go. That's better. Now you can see the game itself starting to tear up from the graphic glitches. All right, so let's go back again to the left a little bit, just a little bit. I just want to crash into the tower. And all you're gonna see, oh, did I crash into the tower? Let's see. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Oh my gosh. This feels like I'm doing no clip on Doom right now. Yeah, we are turned way too far to the side. Go back here and center that up. I can barely tell what's happening right now. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it's telling me that I have the gear up right now, and you can have the gear down. If the Cessna 182 is supposed to be that way, then then it's not a complete accurate simulation. Yeah, but we are flying, still going up. Let me. What's our altitude now? Altitude looks okay. I won't keep going too high now. We might stall. All I have to do is get the flaps in the right spot, but we are going higher and higher. Now the only thing next is landing. We're not going to see landing, but I have to tell you that this game, while even if you're not into flight simulations, this is very, very impressive. The only other game I was comparing it to was that golf game. This one is responding and playing faster. If you remember, when we played the golf game on the Fujitsu FM7, I was fast-forwarding the emulator. I was making it go really, really fast. This one is accurate hardware and the accurate speed that you would have seen, and it's just amazing. That's right, if you get airsick, forget it. I'd love to be able to play the combat mode, but there's a trick to get into to play the flight simulation, or the combat flight simulation. Plus, you also need even more controls, knowing how to work the different weaponry. It's just too cool. Yeah, and the gauges responding real time. There is nothing that's this good. What makes it makes me think of being hopeful for the other games that we're going to be playing from a first-person perspective, because I hit on this when we played Battlezone. Whether you like it or not in the arcade, you have to admit it was one of the first video games putting you in a virtual world, like a 3D world that you were able to move around freely. It was wireframe vector graphics, but this one is the same concept, but it's a real world simulation where you are in a plane flying and it's generating the terrain around you, and everything, all the gauges are happening real time. So it just blows my mind that this is running so well or so smoothly. All right, let me dip my nose down a little bit. Speed's still looking good. I guess I could lower the throttle if I want to, but I want to keep going fast because I just know we're going to crash. Yeah, and the maps and coordinates, right? Oh yeah, this is full throttle. If you look at my RPM gauge, it's to the max. That's as fast as it goes. It only goes, where's my speed? Yeah, over there on the knots is as fast as it will go. My little Cessna. The sounds you hear in the background is all you get the entire time you play Microsoft Flight Simulator, which in a way it is playing on the IBM PC speaker, and to make any sound like this is actually pretty impressive. All right, altitude looks like we're still racing, right? Yeah, still going up. Let me tip the nose down, and let's just go turn a little bit harder to the side. Oh gosh, we're way over the lake now. I can barely make it out just because of how the artifacting of the game is not completely accurate to the experience you would have had. Like, notice how we're seeing the wireframe draw in is like missing something. Yeah, I was climbing a lot. All right, let's go low. Now to experience the crash. Yeah, Marshall. And when you see other people that have played the game, other emulators, they're either not going to get the game to run, or when they run, this is the same experience that they have. If we had accurate hardware, and in fact, if anyone knows of a link of someone playing the game where it is not glitching out like this, send it my way, because I like to send other links to reference the video games we play on the show, and that you can check them out. I dug through a lot, and I think I got one, but most of the time it's the same experience. That right there is just too crazy. Oh, I don't want to dip that low. It does look like I'm just clipping through. And to not play with a joystick feels so weird for a flight sim. This is what you got. Alright, let's dip. Lower. I think we'll just go splash in the water, right? And then we can also Lower throttle if we need to. No, that's still pretty good right there. Yeah, you can see how it clips right there. The clip feels unauthentic. Wow, though. All right, we got to get a crash in. That's what I want to see. So maybe this means that our IBM is not 100% compatible because it's not running Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. I know, if you want to see the majesty of Lake Michigan in all its wireframe glory. You're dipping down so fast. Altitude's dropping quick. We'll come back there. Come on, center us up. I don't think the game knows what to do. That is nuts. I can't believe I got liftoff first try. It was crashing in Lake Michigan over and over and over again. I think I crashed the plane 20 times before this show. So I'm just amazed that we're able to fly. I'm amazed that this is happening because this didn't really happen on the playtests. Oh, it was running slower originally. Well, yeah, that's true. It may have been running a little bit slower than this, but even then, to tweak DOSBox, this is the best that I could get DOSBox to be tweaked to play the game as close as I could. I'm really following my gauge telling me what direction I'm facing, but it's all over the place. Yeah, we're going down. There it is. Lower. Wait for it. Oh man, yeah. Bring it down all the way. Wait for it. Dropping and crash. And it just resets everything right back to the starting place. So if you end up playing this by yourself, you can fly around to different airports, visit different locales, you know, maybe land the plane. You need a lot of practice for that. But the cool thing would be is if we could get the combat flight simulator to run to see how that one fares. However, the version I have here, this is technically version 1 of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And what I mean is, this is the buggiest one, but it also was the first major release compared to A2FS1 Flight Simulator. I know, right? I wish I could bail out, but I don't know how to do that one either. All right, there you go. Enough of the airplane noises coming from your IBM PC speaker. If you were a flight aficionado, if you were someone who wanted to play a simulation, this is the best of the best and the cream of the crop of all video games. We've played flight simulators and some very well done ones, but it felt cumbersome. And if this one was running a little bit faster than it would be for the technical era of, you know, November 1982, I would still have to give it the nod of being the best of the best. When we played A2FS1 Flight Simulator, I said 5 stars just because I understood the sheer scope of what was happening. Like look at that. Look at having a video game that's doing this is unheard of. It's unreal, especially for a micro. All right, so I'll see in the chat we already got just 1 star of all the games you could see or play on all home computers out there. Oh yes, so there you go, Curtis, who played it on real hardware. Yeah, first 3D color simulator. Oh, yes, slow and glitchy. Well, you saw our glitches. Ours weren't technical glitches from how it was. Yeah, because of the other modes that you could play, and because this is a game that is more in-depth, too, than other flight simulators. It's trying to go for as close to realistic flights, flying a plane, than anything else. So I have to give it props. Despite the glitches, despite the slowdown, despite all the other things, this is doing something beyond anything else, and I got to go 5 for everything else. Yeah, you know, I don't think it was nearly as glitchy as that. Please let me know if you see anybody or have someone has footage of the actual first Microsoft Flight Simulator, first version of it, and it running correctly, because it's kind of a tricky thing to find for everything up to this point. All right, so we already have to put our video gaming on pause because we have a lot more things that are coming up soon, and I also have some updates for the show itself. We've been adding backlog after backlog of video games that we missed from previous eras and generations, and they're all on the spreadsheet that is down below. What I'm going to end up doing is I am going to be playing all the games on the backlog to have us caught up. and then put all those videos lumped together into one giant one. I believe YouTube refers to them as videos to fall asleep to, or something like that, because it'll be a really long video of like every video game from the 70s, and that includes all the ones we even missed. So stay tuned to that for that, because the editing process is just crazy to get everything we had before that we played with video games and also include everything past that. So I appreciate everyone's patience, but I also appreciate everyone that's here for the live show too. If you've been hanging on till the very end of the video and you were here watching the live stream of someone playing the first Microsoft Flight Simulator, then you must really love retro video games like we do. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, Morgoth shows us how to turn an arcade maze game into a Lord of the Rings dungeon crawl. And Micro Cabin beats Sierra to the punch with a sequel to Mystery House. That's it for today, and like I always say, what would the world have been like if Microsoft didn't acquire that disk operating system? Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.